Everyone can invest in average opportunities, but wealth, they say, can be built by investing in the greatest opportunities the economy presents. Now, my question is, what is your economy presenting to you? If you would ask me, I think I would say real estate. Welcome to the Women series, where we capture developments and stories that impact women. My name is Ayomide Oguntoye. So last week, we started the conversation on real estate. I hope you learned one thing or two, but today we're going into the nitty-gritty of real estate, and you wouldn't be surprised about the line we're going to, but we just want to educate you and present to you opportunities on how you can go about it. I have a beautiful guest in the house to talk to me today, but before we meet with her, let's go on a quick break and we'll be back.
Tune in to Web TV Daily to stay up to date and informed on the financial market, personal finance, and more. We have got you covered with all your favorite TV shows, economy and politics, market review, women's series, millennial talk, Islamic Finance Weekly, The Brief, exclusive interviews, events, and we keep you up to date on all the updates in the financial market with the market opening gong. Watch premium content. Watch Web TV. Same news, different perspective.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is the Women series. I will capture developments and stories that impact women. I'm super hyped for today's conversation. You want to know why? Don't worry. You're about to get to know why. By the way, my guest today is the Managing Director of ProWorth Investment Company Limited, PICL. Yes, I got that right. Folakemi Fadahunsi. Hello, how are you?
Hi, Ayo. How are you?
Very well, thank you. How are you doing?
Very well.
As your month started off?
Great. Fantastic.
Well, I mean, great, yeah. I haven't heard, I also met you at the conference because I think my last guest as well, I met her at the conference as well, and I introduced her and said how I met with her. And I'm very happy we have to talk about this because it's a different form of opportunity. It's a different form of investment as opposed to the regular investments that everybody knows. Of course, this is like a traditional form of investment, but people tend to put it aside and think that you can do something else as opposed to this. And it's interesting to note that 90% of the richest people in the world actually made their money off real estate. That's fine. I mean, that's really interesting to note. But let's hear from you a little bit. How has work been?
Great. Fantastic. Real estate business is very rewarding.
Yeah.
But I'm actually a core finance person.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So right now I'm working at the intersection of real estate and finance.
Right. So you're just in between.
So, yes. Somewhere in between real estate and finance, the intersection of both. And it's been interesting because it's interesting to help people realize their dreams. You know, so it's much more than just work, right? It's helping people realize their dreams, the dream of owning a home or the dream of owning an investment that can yield good results. You know,
right.
So it's a fantastic experience.
So just before we go into real estate investment trust that we want to talk about today and investment clubs, there's something that I've always wanted to talk about, which of course is kind of linked to this. And I feel like house owners, as of today in our society, because it's still happening, I still saw a tweet sometime last week thereabouts, of how our house owners treat single women when it comes to getting an apartment. I mean, in your opinion, why are we still having such biases against single women getting an apartment?
So, to tell the truth, yeah, I cannot tell you that I understand
why
anybody would decide that because a person is not married, they shouldn't get their own house, rent a house or rent an apartment, or because someone is single, they should not buy a home. I don't understand it, in all sincerity. I guess, I mean, it's probably something that has been passed down over the years. Maybe the misconception that, okay, because she's single, all kinds of men would come and look for her at home.
Isn't that 2000?
You know, because she's single, she'll bring all her friends and they're going to mess up I really cannot understand. I can't figure it out, sincerely. But I think, whatever the reasons are, it's probably due to generalization. Someone has had a bad experience, generalized, and then somehow in our culture, it was passed on from landlord to landlord, and till people got the impression that, what, if I really want my house to be well managed, then I shouldn't give it to a single lady. I think it's very archaic.
Very.
It's very archaic.
Very. And on the other hand, I actually think that's a gap in the market that somebody can look into and say, you know what, if this is what it obtains, I could set up my homes and say that these are the set of people I want to rent out the apartments to. But moving on, let's get to the real gist of today. Real estate investment trust. Now, for investment purposes and understanding the real estate market, so let's start with it. What is REIT? Let's break it down. How does it operate? And how is it beneficial to a new investor with little or no knowledge about the market?
Okay. So I'll try and make it as simple
as possible.
Yes. So, real estate investment trust is simply a platform, an opportunity, or should I say a company set up to give opportunity to individuals to invest in real estate without necessarily owning entire properties.
How sweet. How convenient.
So let me break it down even further. So the way, you may not as an individual be able to buy a bank.
Yeah.
One, because you're not a banker and you don't know how to operate a bank.
Yeah.
Two, because you don't have the funds to buy a bank, but you can own shares in a bank. So it's just the same concept. A real estate investment trust is set up to own investment real estate, investment properties, and then is able to take money from the public where it is publicly quoted, take money from the public, use it to buy investment properties, which can include properties from different sectors of the real estate market. It can include hospitality sector, education, retail, commercial, residential, different types of properties. And then everything is within that organization, but the units of a real estate, which are like the shares of a company, are owned by individuals. You know, and of course, based on the real estate investment trusts regulations and all of that, there is a certain amount of money that the company should pay out to the unit holders as dividend on a yearly basis.
So it's only annually that they get paid?
Okay, so of course, there can be half-year payments of dividend, there can be, and then the full-year dividend. But then, on a regular basis, and that is how as regular as it can be, because the truth of the matter is that every company has a financial year, right? You know, which is on an annual basis that you prepare your financial reports and report on your financial performance. You know, so which is why of course, it's a convenient thing to do to pay annually or half-yearly, dividends to unit holders. Okay, so that's a real estate investment trust, as simple as I can explain it. However, of course, there are different parties to a real estate investment trust. Like the name suggests, it's a trust.
Okay.
So what that means in essence is, as part of the governance structure of a real estate investment trust, you have trustees. Okay. So because one of the fears that people have when investing in a group is, okay, who owns the title to the properties? Do you understand? What if, I do it with my friends and somebody walks away with everything, or puts all the properties in their own name, and then, what will be my, if the person walks away with everything? What
happens to my money?
So for a real estate investment trust, there is a trustee, which is really a company, a trust company, who acts on behalf of the unit holders.
Okay.
And so that way, the position of the unit holders is secure.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay. So that's the way it works. So it's as simple. We've all bought shares at different times, being part of a cooperative or anything. It's exactly the same thing, but this time around focused on the real estate.
Right. There's no other way I could have explained it that better. Or there's no other way we could have even explained that better. But how beneficial is it to an investor that honestly doesn't know anything about the market? I think that's the last part. How beneficial is it?
So it is very beneficial. It's as good as it gets, right? Because one, you don't need to own a lot of money to buy units. You find for the ones that we have in Nigeria.
I think that's a myth you just busted.
Exactly. You don't need to own a lot of money to buy. Because, I mean, for the ones that we have in Nigeria that are public, you find a unit of a real estate investment trust going for as low as 5 naira per unit and all of that. So, I mean, if you have 5,000 naira, it means you can, as long as it is available,
exactly,
you can buy it on the stock exchange. Exactly. You know, but there are also what we call real estate investment groups, which are more private. They are not
Those are the clubs, right?
Exactly. They're like clubs. They're not necessarily open to the public. You won't find the units to buy on Nigerian Stock Exchange. You have to know where those opportunities are, you know, and then, of course, you can be part of a real estate investment group where funds are also pooled together to buy real estate. And this can also specialize in different sectors. So a real estate investment group can decide, you know what, we're only doing hostels.
So the fact is, so for REITs, it's just that it's listed in stock exchange or it's public, it's made public. Let's just put it that way. But for investment clubs, that's the only difference. The fact that it is private.
For the most part. So you know that, okay, so I won't say that is the only difference, right? And the reason I won't say that's the only difference because there's also, in terms of governance structure and the risk you are exposed to, how is it managed? So you know, you and I know that somebody can decide, an individual can decide to set up a club, you know, and not even register it. That's the first error. Not even register it. Just call a group of friends, a group of, you know, siblings, come together. Let's invest in real estate. They invest together. Somebody puts everything in his own name, walks away with all the money, and, you know, everything goes bust. So that can happen. And it's still a real estate investment group. It's a club, right? Okay, but the difference is also in, I mean, the governance structure. Okay, so, I mean, for the ones that I have been part of and working with, they are registered as a company, private company, okay? You register it as a private company. You can have an investment committee that can screen what kind of investment you're going to invest in. You can have a board of directors because it's properly registered, you know? So there's proper governance structure, and that gives it a lot of credibility. So, I mean, that's the same kind of credibility you have in a real estate investment trust that is open to the public. Right? So the difference really is in how it is managed and who it is open to.
So that takes me to my next question now. So how can women, I mean, take advantage of all of this? I mean, where do they go to? How do they access this information so that, because in my mind like this, I'm burning to at least take advantage of this. I don't know if somebody else is, but I want to believe that some other person is also burning to take advantage of this. How do you do that? Where do you access such information?
Okay, so I wish I could tell you, okay, this is just one place, just go to this one place and you find everything that is available. Because like I said, individuals also do these things, right? And they are not necessarily looking to open, they are not necessarily registered, they are not necessarily looking to get money from the public and all of that. Okay, so, but I mean, like I said, I mean, usually it's by word of mouth. You know, you get to speak to someone that is in the real estate sector, they give you the information and all of that. I have some information that I can share, but I don't know whether this is the right platform.
I mean, if
you know, for ProWorth, we have investment groups. Okay, and one of it is focused on investing in real estate.
Right.
We're not developers.
Okay.
You know, so we're just like financiers. Let me put it that way. So a pool of people, a group of people who just are interested in investing in real estate, decide to put their money together and put it in a real estate business. And of course, different levels of people within different groups.
Okay, so let's explain that different levels in different groups so we understand better.
Okay, so let me take it a bit further. So, you know, and this is the example I like to use. You know the way you want to buy airline tickets?
Right.
You can buy economy.
Your examples. They're so relatable.
You can buy economy tickets. Okay? And of course, that affords more people the opportunity to fly anywhere, right? So you can also buy premium.
Okay.
Or you can go a notch higher and buy business class.
Right.
Or you can go even higher and buy first class. Or you can own your own private jets. That means you actually own you own the property.
On your own.
On your own, just go and buy You know, so the real estate investment group puts everybody within the same plane, right? But at different cadres.
That
so
works.
yeah, exactly. So I mean, if someone
Whatever
is
your money
a
can
young
afford.
25-year-old wants to be part of an investment club, there's something for you. If someone is in their mid-30s, early 40s, wants to invest and have a certain amount of income,
There's
it's
something
another
for you.
level. And you know, this is also an opportunity to also own a home. You know, depending on how you negotiate your relationship with the club. But one thing I must always point out, whatever club
you're joining,
whatever group, investment group you're joining, ensure that you understand what is happening there. Ensure that you understand how they are taking decisions. What are they buying?
Very important.
How are they deciding on what to buy?
Right.
Who is overseeing those decisions? Who is giving them?
Ask questions.
Ask questions, please.
Ask questions.
Don't throw your money away.
Yeah, ask questions.
Ask questions. Understand what is happening there. There should be some level of transparency. You should be able to say, okay, this is what is happening. This is what we're doing now. You know, our next step is we're investing in a company that is building, or we're buying an already built estate, or we're buying a hotel, or we're buying hostel, you know, or we're buying a retail property. Whatever it is, understand what is happening there.
Yeah,
have some level of information on what is happening there, so that, and you know, you should also know when you should expect returns. When should you expect returns? Is it after 1 year? Is it after 2 years? Are we building? Are we buying something that already exists, such that we're just going to be getting our rental income and we're going to share, you know, whatever comes in, you know. So please ensure you understand what is happening.
I mean, I think that we've been able to dissect all that has to do with needs. I mean, just the basics. Let's just put it like that. Whatever it is you want to know, don't worry, you have to reach out to her. But let's move this conversation forward. I mean, that's probably will be like my last questions. For mortgage in Nigeria, we know how it works, right? Yes. We understand it. We know what happens. It's just for like some certain people that can afford it. To be fair, to be honest, I feel like it's just the high income earners are just the only ones that have more access to this, that can afford it. What happens to the average income earners when it comes to mortgage in Nigeria? What is happening? Don't you feel like that's a gap? Or because we do not have like a certain amount of money to take part in this? Because the honest truth is, if I have a home, part of my life is settled. It's I don't have to worry about all of those things. And the fact that I have to save my money for another rent, it's all gone. I don't have to cater for that again. But when I have like my own home, part of my problem is solved. So what is happening in that regard? What's happening to, why are we reconsidering the average income earners in Nigeria?
Okay, thanks. And that's a very important question, right? And that's a question that also gives me a lot of concern because you find that the number of people that fall into this category,
there are more.
There are more, whether we like it or not. So it's a very big concern. Okay, so I think, yes, the threshold for getting, or the requirements that you need to meet to even start speaking to a mortgage bank or a mortgage provider, sometimes they're just unachievable. You know, the requirements are you just can't meet them, right? You know, but being part of an investment group can also be a pathway to owning a home.
Right.
If you're able to be diligent and continue to increase your investments gradually. Okay. And I must put a caveat. It's not all investment groups that offer that option.
Oh, right.
Okay. So investment group really is for you to put in your money, earn some money on what you are putting, and that is it.
That's what you earn.
However, it is not impossible to be able to invest in such a way that after a while you actually own entire units of property. You know, that is a possibility, and those are some of the things we are considering in our own investment groups to say, you know what, if after a while I keep increasing my investment, I should get to a point where I now own an entire apartment and not just a unit. I now own, exactly, because I'm increasing that over the years. But I think the key thing is to start early in your investments as a person. If a young person starts early, then your likelihood of getting to a point where you can actually afford your own home, is quicker.
You make the process faster.
You make the process faster, exactly. So try and start early if you can. If you still have time on your hands, try and start early. Mortgage banks, I'm sure, a lot of financial institutions are also thinking about those things. You know, in fairness to them, how can we make this more affordable?
Yeah.
Developers are also thinking about it. You know, you now find developers that are saying, you know what, pay in installments.
That's one I found.
But even sometimes some installments are still too high.
Right.
Some installments are still too high, you know, because it's not as low as what an investment group will say, okay, just bring, you know, bring this over time. You know, so yes, I mean, people are thinking. It shows that we're thinking, different people are thinking of, okay, where are the solutions and all of that. So hopefully things will get better. And people are collaborating more also. Find developers and mortgage banks collaborating, mortgage institutions and real estate investment groups collaborating and saying, okay, how can we make sure that, you know, when you buy all these properties, the people that need to buy them from you are able to get mortgage and buy them from you so that your unit holders can get their returns, you know, as quickly as possible. So things are happening. It's getting better. But unfortunately, I cannot say that the gap is still not very wide. So we keep thinking.
Right. We keep thinking. Things are getting better. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And thank you for having this conversation with me.
Thank
I
you.
think I enjoyed every bit of it. I learned, and I'm looking forward to owning my own units, buying my own, and joining an investment or taking part in this regard, because I wouldn't want this to go to a waste when I'm not also taking advantage of it. By the way, if you'd like to, I usually say that if they want to reach out to me, they can't send a question to me or reach out to me. But at this point, I think they should actually reach out to you personally. So if you'd like any questions, so can we hear how they can get across to you?
Okay. You can reach out to me via my social media handle.
Okay.
On Instagram, you can reach out to @myproworth.
Okay.
My Proworth is MY.
Okay.
PROWORTH.
Okay.
@myproworth.
That's fine.
My personal handle @Folakemi Fada.
Okay.
Folakemi Fada, FOLAKEFADA.
Okay.
And then, of course, I'll get back.
Thank you very much for that information. Thank you for all the information. Let me put it that way. Thank you very much. It was great speaking with you, by the way. I hope you would oblige us when next we call you.
Definitely.
Or when next we will come to your place.
Financing and real estate.
Thank you very much. And that will be all for this episode of the Women Series. I hope you've learned one thing or two, and I hope that you would act on the information that you just received. I hope you really, really do something about it. So you just don't join bandwagons and keep complaining. Take part in this little investment and start early so you can earn quickly, as fast as possible. Right. Thank you for joining me on today's conversation. I hope to bring you more on real estate next week, if possible, by God's grace. If you'd like to reach out to me, send a mail to ayomide.ogutoye@proshareng.com. So follow us on our social media platforms showing on the screen. And if you'd like to read more on your personal finance, read our news stories, or even watch our videos, log on to www.proshareng.com/webtv. Until next time, thank you for watching.